Warning. This program is intended for adults only. What you're about to listen to contains explicit language, sexual topics, and don't be surprised if you get wet.
You've just tuned in to PooseBoss with your host, Victoria Lynn. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Victoria Lynn, and you've just tuned into another mini episode of RandomPoose. And right now I have with me the lovely, introduce yourself, honey.
I'm Lemi Atom. I'm a Los Angeles-based drag and burlesque performer.
Ooh, drag and burlesque. Drag king specifically, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then what's your Instagram handle, just so everyone can find you?
Real easy, Lemi Atom, all one word, lowercase.
Okay, so Lemi. So I was looking at your Facebook, and I saw that you have a lot of classic Hollywood vibe to you.
Yes.
So I have to bring that up. I don't really care if anyone on the podcast who's listening cares, because I love the 1930s to 1950s film era. And I could definitely see that you do as well.
Yes.
So who do you pull from?
I pull from any and everything. I was pretty much raised on film noir thanks to my dad, so I got exposed to all of that early on. But I feel like I like to refer to a young Tyrone Power as my final form, because I saw a picture of him in this one movie. I'm like, oh my god, that's me. That's what I want to look like. So Tyrone Power, Vincent Price. Vincent Price is a big influence on me, and by proxy with that, Alice Cooper, who worked together in the
Alice
70s.
Cooper, super cool. That's a cool person to have an influence
For
as.
sure.
I mean, he is not only a rad musician, but was genius.
Yes, absolutely. But with old Hollywood, it's just that whole, I'm here, I'm suave, I'm debonair, I am owning this room, I am Mr. Steal Your Girl. That is the essence of my drag character.
I feel it. I feel it through your photos. I was like, yes, I totally get where they're going. I totally get it, which is awesome. So for anyone who doesn't understand drag kings out there, can you give them a little idea of how you identify what or who a drag king is?
Well, drag kings, it's pretty much a AFAB performer, assigned female at birth, performers impersonating a male, their interpretation of what they want to see in male presenting society, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much, drag queens are typically men dressing up as women, but the drag is art is...
It's art. You just said it. You just said art.
Yeah, it's art, and it's there's so many different people. Drag is art. It's any person, however they identify, whether they were born female or born male, however they choose to identify as drag is just whatever you want to make it. It's your performance. It's your art.
Do you feel I know this is kind of an outlandish question, but it's just something that I think about. Do you feel that heterosexual women or even heterosexual men don't feel comfortable entering the world, though, because they feel like maybe it's not a place for them?
Sometimes I feel like they just don't understand. Mm-hmm. They're just oh, I don't understand it. I'm just going to go over here. I'm not even going to try. It's weird. It's different. I know. And then they walk away. They don't even try to figure out, well, how does this make me feel? Oh, this makes me feel this way. Well, why? Is that bad? Yeah. And usually it's not, because I don't know if I was scared of drag at the beginning, when I was a wee little one. But it was just different, and I took it as, well, it's different. This is interesting. This is art. People are performing and having fun, and they're creating these characters. That's what drew me to it to begin with, is they're creating these interesting characters to live these fantasies on stage, and just different characters for different songs, different situations, to comment on the political climate or pop culture or the social climate. It's amazing, the range of things drag performers can do.
And where are you from?
I'm from Orange County and then
Okay.
transplanted to LA 2000. I've been living in LA since 2012. So.
Okay. And what kind of brought you to drag? I mean, like, what I'm trying to understand is the background of how you got here.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that made you, because you're very passionate. You know, it's funny that I've interviewed now a lot of people who are drag queens and drag kings, and I find that they are all very passionate. And it's something about art. Like, I'm a very creative person, right? I have podcasts.
Right.
But, like, for me, it's like, I get it. Like, art to me, it's like this art is, like, something really beautiful for a lot of people. And I want to know how did you find it, and how did you be able to embrace it into your life? Because a lot of people, like you said, like, some people will just brush it off and say this isn't for me before even really looking into it and realizing the beauty of it, you know?
Yeah. Well, how I got into drag was I saw some drag shows, drag queens performing, and I was like, this is amazing. I love this. They're lip syncing, they're embodying this. I'm believing that they're singing these songs. They're just feeling it with their entire body and soul. It was beautiful. And I just like, well, how can I do something like this? Like, does the opposite exist? And then I discovered drag kings, which, contrary to popular belief, they've been around since the turn of the century with like vaudeville performers. Oh gosh, I'm struggling to remember a name. I don't know. Damn you, whiskey.
Damn you,
but
whiskey.
they've been around forever.
Yeah.
Like even pre-vaudeville, they've just been around forever with experimenting with gender and their expression, and it's incredible. And I just feel like, and even before I really had a name for it, like identifying as gender fluid, I considered myself like a boy with boobs. Like I just knew I wasn't fully like the feminine, what everyone expected me to be as a person who was born female.
At what age did you, if you don't mind me asking, what age do you?
High school, like maybe 17, 18 is when I really started using that term. Because I would, guys would be like, oh, well, if you just like wax that little mustache on your upper lip, you'd be really awesome. And being stupid, I was like, okay. And then I did. I'm like, I never want to do that again. That was painful. It was awful. And the guy left like the next week. Like he wasn't a part of my life. He was just like, all right, bye. And I'm like, why the fuck did I do that?
Yeah.
So it was me just coming to terms with how I wanted to see myself and what was making me happy. And then kind of building off that as I got older and saw more of the world outside of my little suburban Orange County childhood, it just made me feel more accepted that I wasn't alone. There were people who were experimenting with how they identified with their gender and figuring things out. And I'm like, I'm not alone. There's no time limit on when I need to figure this out. It can evolve and change as I get older.
I mean, I think that's so amazing. See, one of the things that I admire about the LGBTQ plus, sorry, I'm high as fuck. I don't know why I said B, but community is that it took me so long to start to be who I am today. Like, I don't feel like it really happened until recently that I realized that I was like, I can't live my life for other people. I need to live my life for myself.
Exactly.
And stop caring about what other people think. And when I hear your story and other people's stories, and we haven't even really gone deep into your story, but it's just like to be able to have that confidence and just go after what makes you happy, I think is such a beautiful thing. And I think that's something we need to share more, because I think if more people heard that, they might try to do it, I mean, because there's definitely always downs in our lives, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have your low moments, but you have to find ways to, like, cope with it and figure out what's my life preserver? How can I make it through this little rough patch and make it to the next day?
Yeah.
Or even just through the next few hours. Just trying to figure out how to help yourself, or finding ways to find outside help, too, when you need it.
Yeah. No, we had talked about that earlier about just like the community and how there's different centers and things that people can go to. I mean, did you find it? It sounded like you had a very good support group around you.
Well, I think I just, even at a young age, even though I was still struggling and finding myself, even in high school, I was like, these guys don't make me happy. I'm going to be with people who make me happy. It's just, I felt lucky enough to have that sixth sense. Like, I don't want to be, I need to get out of this bad situation, like with friends who weren't as supportive, and even finding my tribe. Like, a big part of that was, starting to perform with Rocky Horror Picture Show Shadowcast, Sins of the Flesh out in Santa Monica, like just off the 405. They're there every Saturday night. Like, once I found them, it was like, oh, I found weirdos like me. I don't have to give a fuck about what anyone else says. Here, I can be whatever I want, and I'm going to be accepted. And I felt safe.
So how'd you find that?
Some friends of mine, it was just after high school, I think, for me. So, like, around 19, I was going to these shows out at the Nuart Theater over on Santa Monica Boulevard. And I went, I'm like, this is insane. Everyone's shouting at the screen. They're throwing things. There's people in their underwear, barely anything on. And it's like 60 degrees outside. What is this?
That sounds fucking crazy.
And I'm, 10 years later, I'm still performing with them. It's crazy.
Wow. So what do you do in the performance? Are you a character?
Yeah, so basically, for people who don't know what a shadowcast is, it's pretty much you get up in front of the movie, like while the movie's playing in the theater, and you just act out the movie.
Okay.
And you just dress up like the character, and you dance around like an idiot for that hour and a half. It's a lot of fun. Even all these years later, I cannot believe it's been 10 years. Oh my God. But I started out.
So you do it every Halloween?
It's every Saturday night.
Every Saturday night for 10 years?
Every Saturday night.
Yeah,
well, I do, the show itself goes on every Saturday night. I, of course, don't perform every Saturday night, but I go, and I perform a lot. And I started out as playing Riff Raff, and then, Transylvanian, and then I was Riff Raff, and now for 2-3 years I've been Brad. So, again, sticking with the male characters, because it's where I feel comfortable. I feel like I can be me more through the male characters. With the female characters, it's a lot of fun, and I like trying it out, but it just doesn't feel the same.
I gotta go to this.
You should.
You gotta. Okay, you gotta.
You should.
I'm saying all this stuff on here. Text Sarah. Tell Sarah I want to go. I would love to see this.
I'll let you know. I can get you a discount.
Yes, you know I love that. Girl loves the discount. Victoria Lynn loves it. Not just kidding. I don't love the discount. I want only very expensive. No.
Wherever you can save $1. But yeah, I've been doing that. That's probably where my drag career started, was performing as Riff Raff, and then Brad Majors at the Rocky Horror Picture Show with that. And then it kind of branched off from there. It's like, well, I can play these different characters, like something that already exists, but who is my drag character? Like, who is Lemi Atom?
Yeah.
Who am I? And then that's where the film noir and the old Hollywood comes into play. It's like, well, even when I'm on stage, I love flirting with every single person in the audience. Like, looking at them going, ooh, I'm going to fuck you later. Ooh, I'm going to flirt with you later. Hey, baby, call me. Man, woman, just any person out in that audience. I'm like, yes. What's up?
So, do you feel like when you have that more, like, because something about that persona feels more masculine to you, that you have more confidence, that, like, it's, do you think it's weird that that's what we perceive as masculine in confidence, is, like, to be able to pick up people in a sense?
It is, but...
I mean, I'm cool with it.
Thankfully, I know some people like femme-presenting people, femme-identifying people who are like that, and they just exude that confidence, like, oh, hey, what's up? How you doing? Can I get your number? And I love them with all my heart. And I take that energy, whether I'm like kind of the androgynous, like hard femme, or if I'm just doing straight masculine drag king. I try to bring that energy into my performances. sometimes, like, but when I take all that off, when I take off that suit or the mask or whatever, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to relax. Like, I can go home to my partner and just be me.
That's awesome, though. So you have a partner?
I do, yes.
Are you, if you don't mind me asking, living together?
We are. We've actually been together 3 years. It'll be 3 years in early October. So he's very lovely. He's very supportive of my art and what I do. And I ask him for tips like, oh, how does this music edit sound? Or, oh, how does this color scheme work? And he'll give me these helpful tips, even though he doesn't ever want to be on stage ever. He's still very supportive from behind the scenes. I recently produced a burlesque drag show, charity show in honor of Robin Williams. And
I saw him on your page, and I love Robin Williams. Rest in peace.
Yes, he's definitely a big influence on
beautiful
who I am.
artist.
Yes, absolutely. We donated all proceeds from that show to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation, which was like over $700. It was a really good show.
Wow.
So my partner, he ran sound for that show. So whether it's behind the scenes trying to keep me calm or actually helping out with behind the scenes of the show, it's just gratifying. I feel very blessed to have a partner to support me like that, because the person before that kind of broke up with me over it. So it was like, well, fuck that guy.
Yeah, well, that's how it works. You know what I mean? That's how it works. When they don't work, you just keep moving on.
Exactly.
So what do you think could be the best message for anyone out there who wants to try drag, whether it's drag king, drag queens, or just trying to get into the community and be involved?
First and foremost, go to shows. Support the performers, like, introduce yourself, say, hey, I love what you do. This is amazing. And just keep going to the show, supporting the show. If you eventually want to perform, you got to support the people that have come before you. And then, slowly build up what you're going to do. Like, look up tutorials online on how to do makeup. This is all what I did. It's like, look up tutorials, how to do makeup, ask for help, go to shows and like talk to performers, like ask for tips that they might have with makeup or getting costuming together or wigs or whatever. And just support each other. That's the key thing there.
Yeah.
Because without that, I wouldn't know so many wonderful drag king performers like NSFW, who I consider one of my really good friends now. Clint Eastwood, who is phenomenal.
I actually follow Clint Eastwood.
Oh, they are
I think we tried
incredible.
to get them on the show, but they didn't respond.
They are a very busy cryptid.
Damn it, Clint Eastwood. I love the name, like Clint Eastwood. I actually saw Clint Eastwood in real life once. I was at his like restaurant farm that he owns.
Oh.
And he was standing next to me, and my parents were like, grab a picture with him, but I didn't want to be rude and like tell him like, hey. Yeah. So I took this really dorky picture of me behind him, like pointing to his head. But he was like, he don't want to be bothered. But all these people were running up to him, and this older lady came up to me. She goes, you see that's Clint Eastwood there? So whenever I see Clint Eastwood, I think of Clint Eastwood.
Right. Very different.
Very
performer.
Maybe not that different.
They're phenomenal. Like seeing their growth, like I knew them when they were first starting out, and then seeing their growth to who they are now, this powerhouse, it's amazing. Yeah. And then Earl Grey.
Earl Grey was supposed to come on too. But unfortunately,
I love them a lot.
Yeah, but hopefully we'll get another interview with them. But yeah, it's really cool. Everybody seems to like kind of support each other, like you were saying.
They do. And it's like an important thing to go to shows is you tip the performers, like show them your appreciation that way. Or, a lot of us are hard on cash, shoot some Instagram stories if they allow the photos at the shows and tag them, support them, like get their name out there and say this person's awesome, it's fucking great. So just any way you can support the shows and just go from there.
I think also, just as a consumer, I can say this, I think the venues need to do better of getting the information about the performers out there. Because, like, say, for example, right, I go to the Abbey, and it's Monday nights is when they usually have, I think, drag night. I
Okay.
think it's Monday nights. I don't know, unless it changed. It used to be Monday nights. But I used to go, and, like, they would come out, and you can hear it over the speaker, but it would be so much better if you see it somewhere where it says, at blah, 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 right? Because then you would
For
get that
sure.
support. And, like, that's where I think it's, like, an overall, like, making sure everybody supports the team. Because, I mean, marketing's marketing. Like,
It
you
is,
know,
truly.
it would be great, though. Like, maybe we should do, like, a huge, like, drag fashion show.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Wouldn't that be?
I would love it.
If we could find, like, a unisex designer who could design, you know, clothes for everybody, so that it could be for kings, queens, and then that way, like, everybody could do their own thing with it.
For sure.
That would be dope. What if you gave the same outfit, in a sense, to all kings and one to all queens, and then everybody just do whatever they want with it?
Oh, just
You know,
like,
it'd be...
add embellishments.
Yes,
fuck it up, do everything.
yes. I think we've started a trend. I think we need to create this.
Copyright.
Yes, PooseBoss. I'm taking this idea. If you fucking take my idea, I'll come after you. I'm ready.
It's amazing. Like, there's kind of like a little drag king renaissance happening where there's more of us than ever before, it feels like. But
I never knew about drag kings till this, like, last week.
what?
Yes, and I, like, have always, like, loved drag queens. Like,
Oh, my
always
gosh.
loved drag queens. And so then, like, when Sarah, she was like, yo, there's drag kings. I said, what? Excuse me? And then I even told my roommate, and, like, we are all about it. She's like, what? I had no idea. I said, yeah, right? I said, I had no idea either. And then I had an interview earlier, and they were like, in London, they have tons of drag kings.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? Why is this, like, so not...
We're everywhere. It's because we don't get booked in shows enough. Like, all these drag shows, they're like, oh, we're all inclusive. It's like, but we're the kings. Where are they?
Yeah.
If they would just... At least one king per like, drag queen show would be phenomenal.
Will we call
would
it
help.
sexist
It would...
then?
Yeah, a little bit. Just, it's kind of like... Sorry, taking off my jacket. That was classy.
Oh, maybe just walked in.
Oh, okay.
Have you know Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe was here last week. And then that's why Indica Sativa. But yeah, I definitely say, like, hey! But yeah, I definitely say, like, it's interesting, right? Because here we are all pushing for, I guess what we would say, equality, right?
Yeah, but
ultimately,
but we take that as a challenge. Like, a lot of performers I know have taken that as a challenge. Like, oh, we don't get booked in these shows, we're gonna make our own shows. So we have Queer as Punk, we've got Checkmates, we've got Man Candy. Those are 3 shows that are all inclusive. They book non-binary, bio queens, drag kings, just all sorts of any, like, drag performer.
yeah.
I think is a great term to use. So they book all these people, and then there's a drag king night the first Friday of every month. There's Hamburger Mary's in Ontario, and then there's another drag king night at the Hamburger Mary's in Long Beach. It's just, and who has my favorite, Landon Cider, performs at both those places, and they are on Dragula right now, which is like a horror drag competition right now.
I think is that for the like drag prom?
It's on Amazon Prime. It's like
It's
horror, like macabre kind of thing.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's really great. And then this is the first time that they booked, like, the non-binary queen and a drag king. This is the first time, like, a king has been on a drag competition show, like, on I guess you could say national television, but it's Amazon Prime. So it's amazing, and they're killing it. It's so great to see. I feel seen.
Yeah.
Having Landon on this kind of platform, it was really cool.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so if anyone wanted to get into being a drag king, what would you tell them the first step would be?
Go to shows.
That's
Support.
It. Well, okay. Besides that, but
yeah,
like,
but
do they like learn to like? What's the performance like?
Yeah, well, I say go to shows, but it's also to figure out who you are as a performer. It's like, can you dance, or are you really good at lip syncing? Are you like more of a creep or a horror aficionado? Are you a horror king? Are you a suit king? Are you just kind of an all encompassing nerd drag king? There's so many, like, just like there's so many different types of queens, there's so many different types of kings out there. So it's kind of like figuring out your voice, like what you want to see, what you want to bring to the table. It's kind of like figuring out what new things you can bring. Like, how can you be seen? Like, how can you bring your voice to the stage, kind of a thing. So for me, I feel the most myself when I'm wearing a suit with lots of rhinestones on it.
And then, so suit with lots of rhinestones. And do you like to do any, like, signature moves or anything? Is there anything that you, like, kind of feel?
Honestly, flirting with everybody, just getting
That's
up,
your
and
favorite
especially
one?
if it
You
is,
like to flirt.
because I love when someone's not paying attention to me, and I just like, oh, okay, and I just get up right next to them, and I'm just like singing to them, and then they turn around, they're like, oh, I'm like, ha ha, and then I just walk away, like, now you're paying attention, okay. It's like, that's the key. You need to pay attention, or I'm going to come call you out on it in my own special way.
Does your partner ever come watch you?
He does. It's, he has like a job that has late hours, but when he gets a chance, I'm like, babe, come to this show. He's like, okay. So I'll get him to come to shows, and it's really nice just feeling, like, I feel supported and appreciated from when I'm performing, but it's nice to know that he's there. It's nice.
And does he like when you dress up as a drag king?
He does, because he sees it as we're both artists.
Okay,
And
so he's an artist as well.
Yes, he works in the video game industry, so it's like another aspect of art, but he just sees it as we're both artists, so he's like, okay,
that's
cool.
I mean, I agree. It is art. It's art.
So I know I primarily focusing on drag king stuff, but I also do burlesque or draglesque. So it's like male impersonation married to burlesque. So I still tape my chest and wear like a packer, but I do burlesque. So I'm like a male stripping. So that's a lot of fun. And I do it with the Hollywood Jane Review is my current troupe that I perform with.
And how many people, like, do you get a big turnout for that?
Oh, yeah. They do this Jurassic Park themed show that does very well. They do that like once a year. Sometimes, well, this year we did it twice because the venue was like, this is so popular, we have to do it again. So they perform out at the Rockwell Table and Stage in Los Feliz. It does very well. It's a lot of fun. They're going to do a Rocky Horror themed show on October 8th. So that's coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun because a lot of the performers came from the Rocky Horror Shadow cast, which is how I know a lot of them. So we all came from the same Rocky Horror cast and then branched out into burlesque and drag, and it's really cool to be able to be with your friends and have that journey.
Yeah, definitely, especially a creative journey. You know,
exactly.
There's nothing better than a creative journey. Can't say that, but. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I want you to tell them, are there any shows coming up that we can see you at?
Well, I'm not performing there, but definitely the Hollywood Jane show, the Rocky Horror burlesque show is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of singing, dancing, burlesque drag. That is at the Rockwell Table and Stage in Los Feliz.
Okay, that's Los Feliz.
Yeah, so it's almost like a stone's throw from
You'll
here.
be in the audience, though?
I will be. I'll be hooting and hollering, get all my friends getting naked.
Will you dress? Oh, you get naked?
Burlesque, you get naked.
Wait, really?
Well, pasties, G-string, you know. Mostly naked.
The basics.
Lots of titties, so it's going to be wonderful.
All right. That sounds great. And then nothing else coming up for you yet?
I got some things in the works for October, some creepy shit, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
I feel like you'll pull it through with the old Hollywood style.
Oh, for sure. I got to have that style and grace. So anything I've got upcoming just on Instagram is where I'm most active, or even on Facebook, just Lemi Atom, LemiAtom. really easy to
Awesome.
find me.
So Lemi Atom, thank you so much for coming on, Lemi.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and you are always welcome back. Anytime.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, this is your girl Victoria Lynn, and I hope you enjoyed that mini episode of PooseBoss called Random Pussy. And remember to keep patting that puss.